Hi everyone, welcome to our regular innovation podcast. My name is Ademola Adesina, I'll be the moderator today, and we've got a special guest to speak to us a little bit about the topic that we all have had to struggle with this year, COVID-19. We've got Alieu Jallow to speak with us today. Alieu Jallow will speak about his experiences in practical terms around the disruptions caused by COVID-19. To begin, I would ask Alieu to introduce himself. Tell us a little bit about what you do, about Yali. You're also a Yali fellow. Tell us a little bit about your experiences with Yali and what you generally do.
Thank you so much, Adele, for the invitation. It's really a pleasure being here. My name is Alieu Jallow. I'm from the Gambia. I'm a 2015 Mandela Washington Fellow. I attended Northwestern University during my fellowship period, and I did business and entrepreneurship track at the Mandela Washington Fellowship. The fellowship was an amazing experience for me, actually a life-changing one for me, because this was my first time in America, and I was beginning to set up my first incubation center in the Gambia, and this was an eye-opener to visit different incubators and interact with a lot of network in the United States as well. This really inspired me that upon coming back, I really worked really hard to launch and scale up the incubator that I initially founded before going to the fellowship. And this is basically what I have been doing in the past 5 years, training and supporting entrepreneurs for the past 5 years. And so far, we have supported over 570 entrepreneurs.
That's interesting. Did you say fourth incubator?
Yeah, the first incubator, startup incubator Gambia.
Interesting. So you've got 4 incubators in Gambia, supporting, and you've supported over 500 entrepreneurs. That's an
Yes,
interesting number.
it's one. Yeah, so it's the one incubator we're able to expanding into the regions through working through regional networks that we have, and we're able to support these 570 startups in the past 5 years, and some of them are doing amazingly well. We even have one of our entrepreneurs who returned back from being a Nike designer in the United States, and currently we're currently building a fashion accelerator program for fashion designers in the Gambia.
That's quite interesting. I would actually like to hear a little bit more about that, but maybe after this conversation. So tell us, what has changed this year? You've been on this for 5 years. With COVID-19, what has changed with regards to the work that you do this year?
The COVID-19 really affected a lot of the traditional way of doing things since in March, when the country went into lockdown. So basically, practically everything didn't go. No work was going on, no trainings, no activities, no gathering. So because usually we do have hands-on training sessions and mentorship and coaching. So we definitely had to adapt, because all the physical interactions and the events and gatherings and networkings were all stopped due to the fear of the COVID-19, and people have to take precautionary measures. In the first 2-3 months, we definitely had to retreat a bit, close down, and then started working from home, and we started facing different challenges in terms of getting internet connectivity issues, having to coordinate which platform or tools to use to be able to communicate with the team and some of the entrepreneurs. So we had to come up with ways in which we can actually do that. So COVID-19 really affected the physical operations that we used to do, it coming to the office and interacting with these entrepreneurs. So we have to really start shifting everything virtual.
Yeah, and everyone's sort of moving virtually. This is the question around how much can you move to virtual? Do you think that a lot of the things that a lot of support that you provide, you are able to provide virtually? Is it comparable?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so I was just asking if the virtual experience is it comparable to the experience that you traditionally provided physically?
Yes. So what we did, we definitely in the first couple of weeks we piloted piloted the online sessions, and the one we did was we partnered with the African development. It was called Africa versus Virus Challenge,
Mhm.
where we were representing the Gambian. We were partners for the Gambian to actually raise awareness, getting entrepreneurs to come up with ideas around solutions to what we can do to solve COVID-19. So entrepreneurs around the continent through the African Development Bank and other partners as well, local and international partners, Seed Stars, and other partners come together to actually organize this event. And what we did was we were able to get entrepreneurs in Gambia and other part of Africa also participate in this challenge using different slacks and different initiatives to co-create solutions and then come up with ideas that will later on be scaled up and incubated or supported to growth. And the idea was at least 100 of these ideas will be taken up to be supported, which are actually listed at the African versus Virus website on the different initiatives that are actually selected to move on to the next level. So in terms of the virtual and the physical has changed a bit, because sometimes the physical interaction really helps, but the virtual part also really worked out. So what we did was, in part of our programs that we implement, we were able to have a two hybrid session, one which is basically like having webinars. Like we had the first time was we have a financial management webinars, getting a financial and ACCA expert who was a Gambian in the diaspora, who actually like had a Zoom call with most of these entrepreneurs, and people participated to learn about how they can actually cope in terms of their financing, their cash flows, how they can actually manage the unexpected risk that they actually are facing in terms of COVID-19. So in a sense, we looked at the COVID-19 as a challenge, but as well as an opportunity for entrepreneurs to innovate and pivot to come up with the already existing and see how we can live with the COVID.
It's interesting that you end with that point around opportunities, and sometimes it feels a little uncomfortable to speak about what is essentially a disaster. I mean, people have lost their lives, etc., as an opportunity. But you raise interesting points around, yes, in thinking around resilience, perhaps think around some of the opportunities around it. So, from an opportunities point of view, what key lessons did you learn from your experience around this?
Yeah. One of the key lessons I learned is that as entrepreneurs, you're going to face with very unexpected things, and COVID-19 is one of those that a lot of people never predicted that is going to happen, or probably didn't were not prepared enough in terms of their businesses. I think one thing that has to do is always have the resilience plan as well. One of the things that we did as an incubator, as an institution, is throughout the process of this COVID-19, we do not lay off any staff. No staff was laid off, and we still even employed two additional staff to work during the COVID-19. And we were able to do that because we had contingency plan of reserves in terms of operations, that at least if anything happens, we know that at least 1 year down the line, our institution will still continue to go even without funding coming in. That will allow us to innovate, because we are an innovative institution. So we need to make sure that we be more resilient. So one of the things is about resilience, and the other part is about the other lesson that we learn is always about forecasting for, like, having that set amount of reserve if available, to just cater for those unforeseen circumstances. Because during this pandemic, our staffs even become more committed to our vision and drive, because we were able to stand with them throughout these challenging times. And we did not reduce salaries, we did not lay off anyone, and they still continued reducing their salaries and continued their work as usual.
That's good. And you're speaking to planning around that. Looking towards the future, what's next for you? What's next for Startup Gambia?
Yes, looking around the future, we're really looking at having working with different partners. Currently, we have launched different programs. Recently, we have launched 3 different programs that has a hybrid version. It has a virtual component and also have a physical component. In the virtual component, we had entrepreneurs attend webinars and sessions, allowing us to tap into the diaspora knowledge that is already existing from the Gambian diasporas to actually bring in expertise and different areas and lessons learned for some of these entrepreneurs, but also coordinating with in-person sessions that we can have, also observing the social distancing measures. So we have even went further for when we used to have classes of sessions of 20 participants. Now we're having about five people that comes in the class, and they're like 2-3 meters apart from each other and max, and have to have hand sanitizers and all these things to help them get that coaching and support that they need while the COVID-19 is still going on. So looking at the future, we're looking at expanding our incubation program. So we currently have we are in the Upper River region, that is the URR in Basse, one of the remotest areas in Gambia. We also are in LRR, Lower River region. So we had trained coaches and entrepreneurs that are well equipped now to coach and mentor some of these entrepreneurs during these trying times. And we currently have about 30 coaches around the country. So each of these coaches are from those communities, and they are working with the entrepreneurs within their communities and providing them support, reducing the traveling and the mixture and all these things. And in the future, we're looking at expanding and establishing these centers in those regions, and not just having representatives that we work with, but have permanent spaces that we can actually operate from within those regions. And the other thing that we are looking at is also in terms of investment, because most of the entrepreneurs that are going through our programs, some of them are really doing well. We have one of our biggest entrepreneur is currently Mohammed. He grew his chicken business 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He came to the incubator with 500 chickens as a poultry farmer. Today he has 36,000 chickens. And Mohammed is currently the biggest poultry farmer in the country because he was able to learn and do these things. So we're looking at how do we build such role models and expand them and get them the avenue to create that employment opportunities, because COVID-19 has come with a lot of unemployment issues and a lot of businesses losing their cash flows, and they have to really take off or from post COVID-19 will require a lot of support from government, from creating the environment, getting tax breaks for some of these startups, just to allow them to weather the impact of the COVID-19.
And it's great. I wish we had more time. We would have gone into what government needs to do around this. You're speaking to some of them already around, making the regulatory environments even more favorable for young people as they struggle through COVID-19. But to young people listening, what advice do you have to young entrepreneurs who are listening to this? What would you like to say to them? I'm thinking, around young entrepreneurs from across the continent.
Yes. For young entrepreneurs across the continent, it is we are in a very delicate time. I really, as I usually say, entrepreneurship is about resourcefulness, and entrepreneurship is about, like, with the limited resources that you have, how can you create and innovate and create value to your customers? I'll always tell entrepreneurs, as you feel obstacles and challenges, don't look at them as obstacles and challenges alone. It also equally comes with opportunities. Looking at how ways you can use the basic tools like social media to transform our program from a totally physical, to a hybrid version of virtual sessions. So always try to be innovative, create, and persist whilst you strive towards building your businesses. And for entrepreneurs as well, you have to look at the the current trends and see how you can adapt to the realities of the situation. As we COVID is here, we know it's going to not going to go very soon. Hopefully we'll have vaccines very soon and it will be out of here, but we need to create solution to some of the challenges that COVID has posed in terms of restrictions of movement for people. So entrepreneurs, go out there, look at these challenges COVID has provided to our continent, and see how we can actually innovate to create solutions for those challenges.
Thank you very much, Aliu. I actually liked that point around, there are challenges, yes, but the challenges by themselves create an opportunity for you as an entrepreneur. So we always end that conversation with a fire round. I'm going to ask you one or two questions right now, and you reply very quickly with one sentence or a phrase. The first one is, how would you describe your job to a 5-year-old?
Ah, My job is fun, engaging, and it's an everyday school that I learn from everyone that I meet.
Interesting. What do you dislike about the job?
Ah, time consuming and it's demanding, but it is as
Okay.
importantly self-fulfilling while you're actually doing what you love. Time goes by quickly without realizing.
I was going to ask what's the most rewarding part, but I see that you've said itself is fulfilling, and that's great. Thanks a lot, Aliu. It's been great speaking to you. And I think that you've left us with a few key messages around planning for resilience even before some of these shocks happen, and looking at challenges as to some extent opportunities. Thank you very much. It's been great speaking to you on the podcast today, and we hope that you continue with the great work that you do in the Gambia.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to share the little experience we have, and we hope with to see you guys again and have another session in the future. Thank you.